All right. Welcome to another podcast at Press X. Introducing my co-host here, RK.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, the better image quality is noticeable on my end. Thank you, Nintendo iToy. But yes, there's a lot for us to go into. So look forward to a long episode this week.
Oh yeah. So much news this week. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I've been enjoying this the past uh the past few days since I got it at the midnight launch. So I'm very happy.
Oh, yes. The Switch.
The Switch
As,
Doors.
yes. As we call it, the PS4 machine.
Oh, okay, we're already starting. All right. Love to see it. Love to see it, man.
So doing well, I hope.
I am doing well. But how about you, man? Hopefully everything's going good on your end.
Yeah, going good. It's just trying to figure out a replacement for Skype has been tough.
Well, we got Zoom from the looks of it, so hopefully that
Yeah,
works out.
because I'm paying this month, but we'll see what if for the future. But let's get on with the show.
Oh
So,
yes.
what are you playing, good sir?
I'm predominantly playing games on the Nintendo Switch 2. So that includes Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, um, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, the Switch 2 versions of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S and Sonic X Shadow Generations for the Switch 2 exclusive games, and just a whole bunch of Switch 1 stuff just to get some testing in and seeing if there's any performance boosts and differences. And just to kind of go over just my general impressions on the console, it feels premium. Like that's not really like me joking around or anything. It feels like you pay 450 for this thing, you feel like you're getting your money's worth. Like the build quality is very solid. The screen is gorgeous. The Joy-Cons that feel very stern in the console now versus how flimsy they felt in with the Switch 1. And just the overall performance for every game I tried so far has been really solid. And to kind of before I go into just the general games I'm playing, just the prevalent thing I've noticed on Switch 1 games running on the console, it's very similar to what happened when during the Xbox Series X and the PS5 when you played last gen games on that platform. You just inherently get performance boosts with resolution boosts if you had dynamic resolution in place, and frame rate boost if the game was either uncapped or was an unstable 30. So games like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity now runs at like a stable 30 frames per second versus how inconsistent it was on Switch 1. Or something like Doom 2016, which has dynamic resolution and sometimes the frame rate didn't hit 30. You got a locked 30 and the dynamic resolution caps out at 720p from the looks of it. So it looks super sharp on the screen. And you get shocking performance boosts for a number of games too. Like Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition runs at a lock 60 frames. Nintendo's like Bayonetta 3 runs at 60 frames now. And there's the various updates for Switch 1 games. Ironically, I didn't try Pokemon yet, but I did try Link's Awakening, and that's beautiful on Switch 2. Max resolution on in portable mode, stable 60 frames per second. Like it, if you never, there's the common like comment people have made is like, oh, it feels like a Switch Pro, but it kind of does, similar to how the Series X and the PS5 felt like really nice upgrades if you've never got like a mid-gen refresh console. But obviously, the Switch 2 exclusive stuff. Mario Kart. $80 Mario Kart, which I was lucky enough to get the bundle, so it was 50.
Yeah.
Um,
How's that open world? Revolutionary?
I wouldn't. It's not revolutionary because it's obvious that they and when they designed the open world that wasn't. the priority of the experience. The priority of the
Mm-hmm.
experience was you have tracks that are more interconnected together, and the open world is for they can't fucking freaking talk, kind of links things together. Whereas in like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where like you have like lap one, lap two, lap three around like the same kind of area, you lap you go from track to track. Like in the typical Grand Prix now, the first track is a traditional like, oh, you're racing around an area, and you kind of stay in this main area. But tracks two, three, and four, you're traveling to other parts of the open world, with lap three being the track. So like even if like the level design in particular for like the intermission sections may not be as tight and strong as the main tracks, which all feel pretty fun to race on, the way like between the 24 players and being able to use like different tricks, because you're not just drifting. You can hold the drift button, you can jump in the air, you can grind on rails, grind on walls, and a lot of the game was built around this mechanic, and it's a freaking learning curve for someone who never did even consider that in Mario Kart 8. But it's really fun when you nail like a really good shortcut. It feels like you were rewarded for experimenting with the gameplay mechanics, which that's really nice to see. But the open world itself, it's it's aimless is the wrong word to describe it, because I have to put more time into it. But after completing a couple of the P switch missions and just driving around casually, it honestly just it's like a Zen-like experience. You just drive around, you listen to like the amazing remixes across the entirety of like the Mario series and its sub-series. Because it's not just like tracks, like music tracks from, oh, this Mario Kart games. You hear music remixes from Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 3, Yoshi's Island, even something like WarioWare and the like. You hear remixes from across the Mario franchise, and these remixes are beautiful. Like when the Galaxy ones came up, I got a little like emotional because I love that's my favorite Mario games, the Galaxy ones. So hearing that, I was like, wow. But I really like it so far. Do I think it is worth the 80? I can't really comment because I still have so much left to kind of pick apart and play. But I don't really have any problems with it, and I definitely feel warmer on it than I did during the Nintendo Experience event.
One thing I have noticed is
Yeah,
a new console has launched and everyone's talking about playing old games.
that was the case with the Series X and the PS5 too.
Yeah, but PS5 had multiple launch games that all Nintendo has is one Mario Kart.
The main thing with the Switch too is like you have Donkey Kong coming out next month,
Yeah, but
and
that's next month. It doesn't feel like a console launch.
I don't know, man. All I know, like, if it doesn't feel like a console launch, why was there like over 100 people at the midnight launch line? Like people,
Because it's Nintendo.
yeah, people want, yeah, but the Wii U was also Nintendo too, and that did not sell well either.
Yeah, but I feel like Nintendo's brand is way stronger than it was in the Wii U.
That's a good point. I don't know. I feel like the big thing with the Switch 2 is Nintendo is like spacing out their
Yeah,
releases.
that is an interesting strategy because
I feel like with that, I do agree with you that it would have been it would have been it would have been stronger if Nintendo had more than just another big original game for the Switch 2 launch. But I think what they're banking on is like a lot of people like me who never got like a OLED model or just stuck with their launch console, and they're just kind of riding out the Switch with a couple of Switch 2 editions, kind of space things out while their teams get make sure their games are polished up for the launches for January, July for Donkey Kong, and Kirby Air Riders for potentially this holiday, and the next Hyrule Warriors game. And apparently there's some Nintendo Direct coming up in this month. So maybe we might hear something. But that I agree. There should have been another major game outside of Mario Kart for the launch. I will agree with you on that end, but I don't think Nintendo is kind of. It's not like a situation like Microsoft where they don't have first party games for
Hmm.
God knows how many months. This is a situation where Nintendo purposely held back the launch of the Switch 2 and some of their titles to ensure they have a lineup to kind of space things out. And they're probably also banking on the holiday, which is where a lot of games like Prime 4, the next Pokemon game, there may be cross-gen games, but they benefit with Switch 2 enhancements. So they're probably banking on that to be blunt. Because while I'm surprised how well stocked the console is right now.
Hmm.
If you want one, you could probably get one even when this episode goes live potentially. But at the same time, it's like Nintendo's probably banking on another massive shipment of consoles in the holiday season, and that's probably when we'll get another major game, like on the level of a Mario Kart or a Donkey Kong. You're right, though. I agree with it. Agree with there should have been one more game, and maybe push Donkey Kong up for June as well.
Hmm.
But Nintendo's gonna do what they do. We'll see what happens. But I also played You mentioned ports, so I guess I'll just t touch on Cyberpunk before I pass the torch to you on other games you're playing. Cyberpunk is the major third-party game that everyone is buying at the launch, and it's for good reason. The whole game's on the cartridge. They optimized the game really freaking well for the Switch 2. And like there's a performance mode that you can have 40 FPS with VRR on the Switch 2 screen. Beautiful. I just thought I played for over almost an hour. No issues in that mode. And even when I'm playing it on docked on the TV, I'm surprised at how good the game looks on that in that mode. So overall, I'm just impressed with the performance on the console. Like everything I'm playing, I played on it looks a lot better than it does on Switch 1, and I'm very happy that I upgraded.
Nice.
Do you
Well,
have any questions on the hardware itself, or you?
have you played was it the equivalent to Astrobot?
No, I didn't. I opted not to buy that at the launch, but I might. One of our writers at Lords of Gaming decided to get the game and expect to see coverage on that and a bunch of other stuff very soon.
I did hear that. Sounds like solid hardware, just software isn't here yet.
But something else that they also have is GameCube Online. So I got the wireless GameCube controller,
Hmm.
and it feels just like the original. Like I was so happy when that came in the mail last at the end of last week. But yeah, that's everything on Switch 2 stuff. If I'll comment more on it next episode. Obviously, a bunch of articles will be up covering it at Lords of Gaming, but stay tuned. I just got my console and I'm just playing with it.
Yeah, I got to hear that. I've been playing a few games.
Ooh,
I have been playing a GTA Vice City for the first time.
nice.
I finished that one, and I've been revisiting PS4 Gym Just Cause 3, which I think is actually better than Far Cry.
Nice.
It's just really they have like really good like destruction, like of destruction, like blowing stuff up. And
I
then the
remember, yeah, I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing footage of Just Cause 2, and the destruction in that game is crazy.
what's crazier here is you have a really good move set is you have like a grapple, like it's a grapple, then you have a wingsuit, and then you have a parachute. And using all these things in tandem to move faster around the map. It's quite fun.
That sounds sick.
Yeah. It's like been my comfort game. And then yesterday, not yesterday, but this week I've started a game called Nobody Wants to Die. Came out last year, like for $20, I think.
That's nice.
It's on sale for 13 right now, for the days of summer, I believe, on PSN. If it was like kind of like a tech demo, but not, it was like a Blade Runner-esque detective thriller or like hunting clues and trying to solve this case. It's like pretty fun. not really gameplay heavy, but like the atmosphere, the visuals, and the writing has been pretty solid. It's made by some Polish developers, I believe.
So it's like one of those types of games that you just kind of pick up and play to get a vibe on like the atmosphere and the visuals.
Yeah, yeah. It's only like 4 hours or something, or 5 hours.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that. And then once I finish that, I'll probably start Outer Worlds, which is good timing.
Yeah, the sequel's coming out.
Yep. So I never finished. I remember starting it back and I really liking it, but like another game distracted me, so I forgot to get back to it.
I'll try to probably give that another chance before the launch.
Yeah. We can talk about the satire of capitalism later.
Yes, the satire of the capitalism game being $80, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue. Uh, you want to cover any topics first, or you have anything else to say before we continue?
Um, I guess we can just since we just mentioned it, let's just maybe get the Xbox Showcase stuff out of the way first.
Oh,
We
really? I
can
was gonna say that like for the back half.
um yeah, whatever you want to do is fine with me.
Okay. Let's. I was thinking we get rid of the more smaller stuff out of the
Okay,
way, and
sounds good.
then we'll go show by show in terms of state of
Okay,
play, Summer Games Fest.
sounds good.
All right. We can talk about People Can Fly. They spend two major projects and make major layoffs.
And one of the projects was with Square Enix, so assuming that's Outriders.
Yeah, I
It's
said
Outriders
they
too,
had
probably.
like problems with the publishers. I think if I remember reading it earlier in the month.
Yeah, that's a shame too, because them potentially working on Outriders too would have been cool to see, but
Oh, it says here as a consequence of the fact the publisher has not presented us with the draft of the content writer to the publishing agreement covering the terms and milestones of the project.
hmm,
Seems like they had cold feet, whoever was publishing, similarly Square Enix,
that's a shame.
because they're kind of afraid right now to publish stuff.
Well, they're trying to get their games on everything now, so
Yeah.
I guess they were just like, I don't know.
And then we can talk about Call of Duty 2026. Modern Warfare 4 is reportedly set in North and South Korea.
Hmm,
And instead of doing a Roman numeral 4, it's going to be using the Korean 4 for its cover art.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't have much to comment on as I'm not a big Call of Duty guy, but what do you think as the Call of Duty expert here?
well, I'm a big fan of the Modern Warfare series, so I'm excited. I think Korea, using Korea's, because they're kind of talking about potential World War III stuff, I think Korea is a good way to modernize it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Modern Warfare 4 with Infinity Ward, and they'll be continuing from Modern Warfare 3, which was kind of messy.
Well, hopefully it's a better game.
It will be, like 4 years of development. Let's talk about Red Dead 2 Next Gen patch coming this year on a Switch 2 port.
That's surprising to see
It
leak
makes
out.
sense. They're doing a Switch port, so they might as well patch the old consoles too.
I guess they got a lot of success with the Red Dead one release potentially, and that's why they're making another one.
Yep. X Defiant has now been taken offline forever.
Rest in peace.
Rip Bozo.
Oh my God. Well, the next one I can touch on since it apparently the rumored God of War game is not only going to be a more like lower budget Metroidvania style adventure, but also Kratos' brother is gonna be featured in the game. So that probably explains why all the rumors are saying it takes place in the Greek era, because that's when his brother was alive.
Yeah. Oh, excitement I had for this project died. So this is gonna be an arcade-like game.
Oh yeah, this is it's funny. You went, oh, I don't care anymore, and I'm like, oh, now I'm interested. So how the cookie crumbles.
Hey, I like my cinematic third person and first person games.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Two, no 3D, no care.
Wow.
Sorry, Silk Song fans.
Well, hey, looks like a game, what looks like a big budget game you're super hyped for might potentially
What
have some trouble.
was super hyped for?
No, you're super hyped for this one. Come on, you was hyping this up, former PC dev.
I was hyped for it a month ago. And so all the red flags started coming out.
Come on, red is just another color of green.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Maddie's preview.
Oh, I saw it. I'm just busting your balls, brother. But you take it away.
First of all, who previews a game which you know is supposed to be the best version of the game with God mode on?
That baffled the hell out of me, man. Like that makes no sense.
I have a theory.
Hmm.
So basically, you remember like the Everywhere platform, like was like the Roblox.
Yeah.
That platform has seemingly just disappeared and not even talking about it anymore. I'm guessing the studio got too ambitious with their ideas here and kind of started running out of money, and they've just
I
been
can see
pushing
that.
MindsEye out
Just get it out the door and wipe out and just get whatever money they invested back.
because MindsEye was like supposed to be like a something they created for Everywhere platform,
Yeah.
but now
They do have a roadmap of things they want to do after launch, but we'll see if that even happens.
so now it just seems like they're making MindsEye their new platform by having like a GTA Online Plus thing.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I hope they work it out because the trailer from Summer Games Fest looked really good.
If anything, the story is going to be engaging.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay because they did a 10-minute gameplay demo. It looks pretty simple, but it looks like a good, I don't know, 70 Metacritic game.
Well, for the sake of the developers, I hope the game turns out to be a
Yeah.
success.
It's kind of interesting how the IOI CEO was on stage, kind of pushing it.
Well, they're publishing it. I mean, they're
Yeah.
probably like, hey, we want our thing to be successful.
I kind of find it interesting they published this one because Hitman is also kind of live service in a way.
Well, they saw success with Hitman, so they probably
But yeah,
saw,
MindsEye also has like a long-term live service plan, so I wonder if
yeah,
this one kind of similarities there.
maybe do you think there'll be a crossover?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, I was making a joke. I didn't realize that.
Oh, you didn't
Okay.
see the announcement?
No.
Oh, there's several crossovers in IOI land. Witcher 4 gameplay at Unreal St not Witcher 4 gameplay. This article is mistitled. A tech demo that could be how Witcher 4 looks like was revealed.
I really hope this isn't CD Projekt making the mistake they did with Cyberpunk and they announcing and they kind of showing off like ambitious stuff too early and the game doesn't look like that at the end.
Well, the idea was to showcase the tech they built with Unreal 5 and their DNA of their old proprietary engine.
I get that and
Like
at least they
if all the
go
circumstances are right, this is how Witcher 4 could look like.
could, not will, could.
Yeah.
So I hope that they continue to be very clear like
I mean, I
during
think they were very clear. Like they said, this is not Witcher 4 gameplay. Like they went out and said that.
okay.
So I think if people, it's just some of these articles are kind of mistitled for clickbait, and so this might confuse people there. But like, you can expect these type of graphics, but if it performs at 60 frames, I don't know about that one, Chief.
I don't know. The on PS, I think that's a target they have, and if that's a target they have for PS5, that's
Yeah, that was
probably
running at PS5 in the tech demo.
yeah. So that indicates that they're taking console optimization very seriously from the rep, which is something that wasn't the case with Cyberpunk. They did Cyberpunk. It was after the fact, all the optimization work got done.
So a
So
key aspect was like they were talking about tech that like requires less of the console.
mhm.
Like polygons wouldn't be like fully loaded, basically. Like something to limit the use of the CPU. So talk about the tech would help them, load stuff without taking up everything.
Well, hopefully, whatever tech magic they're doing, it's a success.
They're using some of their like, proprietary. engine tech from like the Red Engine into
Mhm.
Unreal. So it's also a plus for developers because they
That's
get
true.
more tech and features.
Well, they're one of the more they're like the big one of the big prominent like developers partnering with Epic to make sure
This,
Unreal Engine
if you
works.
think of this is more like a research collaboration where CD Projekt Red is helping Epic upgrade their Unreal Engine.
It needs to remove all that starter stuff, man. So
Because the
hopefully,
biggest problem with Unreal Engine games is Unreal Engine is a really good engine, like for more linear games, but in open world it has issues.
yeah. So hopefully this is a step
It helps them
remedying
because
that.
I don't know if you remember the Kingdom Come Deliverance director said, I don't know how we considered Unreal Engine, but we thought it was bad for open world games.
Hmm.
So like they're trying to fix the weak point of Unreal Engine with CD Projekt Red, and is my take.
Take a while.
Well, it's been an
Well, what
issue.
is?
It was been an issue even since like Unreal Engine 4.
Hmm,
It's just worse this generation because we have so many more open world games now.
that's true.
Like look at Oblivion,
Oh God.
dude.
Yeah.
You already have a broken engine, and then you add an Unreal 5 engine mess on top of it.
Oh God. But
I've
something that isn't broken is a lot of cultured mods for the PC version of Stellar Blade. And yeah, good on them. Good on the community for celebrating a cultured release.
Yes, they're as crazy as you can imagine, let's say.
Oh yes.
And then there's also been some leaked multiplayer split screen modes discovered.
It might be in relation to one of the Nike DLC because that's like a shooting gallery type thing for one of the mini games. So maybe it might be linked to that potentially. Who knows?
Could be.
But,
And then we have Call of Duty removes ads from Black Ops 6 and Warzone loadout screens.
oh well, they shouldn't be there. Shouldn't have been there in the friggin' first place. But hey, at least you course corrected now.
No, they just said this was just a experiment. It's not actually happening. They said a UI failure,
Experiment
a UI feature test.
a UI feature test. I hear all the air quotes in your tone, brother. You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Mm.
Thank you, Activision, Xbox, for fixing something that shouldn't been there in the first place,
Well, the saddest story of the month.
and one that isn't very surprising,
Black Panther was
unsettling.
canceled because they've been dicking around in development. I believe they were still in pre-production, and when was this game announced?
That is, I don't know. I feel like when you make, we're gonna be talking about another Marvel announcement in a little bit, but like, I feel like when it comes to like the single hero projects, if your name isn't Spider-Man or X-Man, you're kind of cursed.
I believe this project has been in development like what, 3, 4 years? 4 years?
That's crazy.
And you're still in pre-production 4 years?
And keep in mind, these were the former developers that Monolith Productions.
Yeah, but like I don't know what's going on. 4 years, you should be in production by now.
You should at least have a gameplay thing you could show people, but this is
I'm sure they had like an internal prototype, but it seems like they're trying to build the Nemesis system and that was like taking time.
what you don't have the rights to the tech. Why are you wasting time doing that?
No, they're building like their own version that was different enough to be like legal, I think.
That's ridiculous.
But like
I
it seems
feel
like they wasted time building systems and weren't
they
ready
should
for
instead
production.
of I'm sorry if I keep cutting you off, but it feels like with the Black Panther project, it's a case of wasted development efforts and you're dealing with a Marvel IP and Marvel IP is expensive as is and EA doesn't even want to deal with it. So like not only wasting time, but I don't know. I just hope everyone that got laid off, or people, or
I'm sure
that
some of them got transferred to other EA studios,
that's the main thing that I'm hopeful for.
but it seems like it wasn't a license game issue. It just felt EA felt like this project was kind of going nowhere.
That could be it too.
Like it had, I'm sure it had good DNA, but for 4 years, that's just too much, man.
Agree.
It's also more sad when Monolith was just shut down this year, and the founders' new team is also shut down.
This industry's brutal, brother.
It's just in the same year, bro.
It's brutal. It's probably not the last of it too, sadly.
EA's three-game deal with Marvel remains strong.
I see Iron Man coming out, and that's it. This is just
I
fluff.
think there will be more Marvel games. I just think EA is gonna expect better efficiency from their studios. Because
I'm
you can't
guessing
spend
the
10
next.
years making one game.
I'm guessing the next Marvel thing is going to be some type of multiplayer game
I wouldn't be
after Iron
surprised by
Man.
that. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is like a second party team. You know,
And
they're
EA's
like,
publishing it, kind of like the whole what they do with what how Split Fiction came about.
yeah. Because like I've looked at all their teams, I don't think anyone's available to make a Marvel game.
I could see that happening,
Because they're
especially if
kind
they
of
need
all
to,
occupied.
yeah, especially if they need to fast track something.
Yep. But Iron Man remains strong, and that team is also making the Battlefield campaign on the Battlefield Studios.
That's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know that team was created by Jade Raymond?
Let's move on to the next topic.
No, seriously, the team became good when Jade Raymond left.
Oh, well, that's good then, I guess.
Because Dead Space remake came out after she left.
Okay. Uh,
EA's Entertainment focusing on fewer franchises moving forward.
is this in regards to the IP they own, or
Yeah,
just
they want Battlefield, Mass Effect,
well, Mass
Jedi,
Effect? Well,
Apex.
well, I guess is I mean we the Dead Space 2 remake was put on ice for Iron Man to move forward.
I think that
Um,
one was put on ice because of the sales not being good.
I bought it day one. God damn it.
So did I. I love that remake.
Yeah, I played like a good chunk of it. It was beautiful on Series X.
Yeah. Let's talk about actually speaking of Mass Effect, did you see there's a new game announced called from the Expanse universe?
No.
It's made by some CPRG devs,
Ooh,
and it's basically like Mass Effect from the way they revealed it.
nice.
So you have a Mass Effect in terms of the Expanse, and then you have the former Mass Effect devs making their own game. Forgot what it's called.
And then you have then you have BioWare basically kicking dust in the wind to making the next one.
So you have two Mass Effect inspired games already in development.
And they're probably gonna be better than the actual Mass
Yeah,
Effect game coming out.
because I forgot what it was called, but like that game just seemed like really ambitious, like dealing with like time dilation,
Yeah.
and like that's an ambitious mechanic. So I don't know if BioWare is gonna survive.
Well, speaking of surviving, we
Night,
have. Sorry, you go ahead.
all right. Elden Ring Night Rain launches to mixed users reviews, but huge player count on Steam.
I don't care about Souls, so unless you have anything to comment on, we can just move on to the next topic.
I just think it's a interesting kind of spin-off project from the Elden Ring devs.
I mean, they wanted I guess they made a solid multiplayer experience potentially,
Yeah, it seems like could use some tuning, but they have something.
and also this one is not shocking. in the slightest. Xbox puts handheld console on hold, and the main reason is they're working on making sure the Xbox layer or whatever the plan is to get games working on their own handheld to just be ironed out because when you use the Xbox app on Windows, it's inconsistent and it drains resources and that results in lesser performance in some regards. And you really can't have that for a handheld console. And not to mention, for an Xbox proper handheld, it needs to be able to use actual Xbox games, not PC games with the Xbox branding slapped on it, actual proper Xbox Series titles, Xbox One games, the back compat stuff on 360 and Xbox, and the original Xbox. And I don't know really what their plan is in terms of them making a handheld because in order the biggest selling point for an Xbox handheld is if I can play the library that I purchased on my Series X on this little handheld thing. That's not gonna, that seemingly is something they don't want to put the resources into, but we will get to it in a little bit. They showed the ROG Ally Xbox PC handheld got revealed, and surprise, surprise, it plays PC Xbox games, but not proper Series X, original Xbox One, and blah blah blah.
Counterpoint.
Go ahead.
Does this matter when the next Xbox is a PC?
It matters when if your next Xbox is a PC and you want to keep that user base that supported you, you want to make sure that stuff is carried forward. And I
Yeah, they'll
imagine
carry it forward, but I have a feeling those that console will be playing PC versions.
not every game on the Series X and Xbox One got a PC version now.
That's
And
true.
those are the versions people bought. And ideally you want to make sure all that is playable. Because if
Yeah,
you're not, that's not playable, you're not honoring people's libraries who invested so much money into it. And if you're not doing that, then there's no real trust going forward. Like,
and it just
ev
like create an emulator or something.
they're working on an emulator, but like
Mm.
but like we can talk about this. Like on the PlayStation 5, you can play your PS4 games.
Mhm.
And on this, every Switch title is more or less playable. So like backward compatibility is huge, and if they're going to be making a proper handheld, it should be that's something that should be priority number one. But I really don't think they care about hardware anymore.
Yeah,
They just and this is just another nail in the coffin for that.
the
And
Xbox handheld is canceled.
you say there's not going to be the next Xbox is going to be a PC. That they may not even bother with that. They might do what they're doing with ROG and just partner with like Lenovo or
I don't know.
uh
Don't they do
Intel or
make PCs, don't they? Like with they did the Surface.
yeah, they do make PCs, but I'm thinking like they're gonna probably pass off like the building process and the cost and everything over to someone else because they don't want to do it themselves. They just want to get the OS backend stuff sorted out. Then they just shop around and they save money. Last tangent, I'm sorry. I kind of got on my soapbox for a moment here. Um, it is telling when PlayStation had discounts, again, discounts on the PS5 and PS5 Pro and all the other accessories. And Nintendo locked in the price that they would be able to switch to at, while Microsoft jacked up prices. And they're also one of the first publishers really leaning headfirst in $80 games. So that says everything. But sorry, I just ranted a bit there. I don't hear you, bro. No audio, buddy.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. What was you saying before?
Do you hear me now?
I hear you now. Do you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I was making a joke how there is no Xbox handheld because it's the Microsoft gaming handheld.
Yes, exactly. But
I don't know.
speaking,
I don't
but
know. I think they'll still
go ahead.
try to do some type of hardware on their own.
I hope so, but I don't really believe
I
they.
just think it'll be more generalized like a PC, not just like not like a gaming PC, but like a PC that can do everything.
That's what I think is probably going to happen too. They just got to make sure that back end, like all the compatibility stuff works correctly and everything.
Yeah, or they could just bring up the Xbox One line. That's what the last console was for.
Jesus. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic, which I
They
think you'll
won't.
be
They're too afraid
very.
to do that though.
They might. They at that
Only
point.
Nintendo has the balls.
Speaking of somebody who has balls to say the reality of what it is,
Shuhei Yoshida says dangerous subscription models won't advance the industry.
you can't. This is in relation to the whole to Game Pass and other services like PS Plus and everything. And I think in regards to as prices go up for games, it's gonna nudge people closer to just paying for the subscription,
I
as we'll
think I should read
touch
his
on in a bit.
quote before we continue.
You know what? That is the correct way to do this thing.
He
Thank you.
ex he explained if the only way for people to play games is through subscriptions, that's really dangerous because what type of games can be created will be dictated by the owner's subscription services. That's really, really risky because there always must be fresh ideas by small developers to create the next wave of development. But if big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry.
Make some good arguments.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, like Netflix, for example, the you got to make what Netflix says, or they'll just cancel you.
Yeah, so many shows, only one season.
Yeah, but it can be dangerous. But I think a mix of both is the solution. You can have subscriptions, but you should also have the standalone experiences.
Very true.
Well, this is more my ally than yours, but Cyberpunk sequel release at least 4 to 5 years away.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's
After,
actually really good too, because say Witcher 4 comes out 2028, we could
yeah,
have Cyberpunk 2 in 2031.
I could see that.
So having those games close to each other is pretty good.
That would be really good.
Another interesting thing is this they will have Night City, but it will also have another city.
Ooh.
This one will feel like Chicago gone wrong. Not Chicago, but will feel like the feeling of Chicago gone wrong.
It's also smart that the game is in pre-production right now, but they're not like being super gung-ho about, oh, the game is about this, and this. They'd be like, hey, we're working on it. But we have other stuff we're working on too.
It seems like they got the pitch and concept down, like the higher ups greenlit it.
And I imagine all the success after the launch between like Edge Runners, the next gen version, and probably the third or fourth wind with the Switch 2 edition. Because being one of the only publishers to even bother putting the full game on the cartridge is a big reason that a lot of people like me even got the game.
Mhm.
So
And we noted the creator director didn't actually work on the first Cyberpunk. He came in after the game came out and directed the DLC.
oh, nice. So he worked on Phantom Liberty then.
Yeah, he's a veteran from BioWare.
Wow.
Yep. More
So all
talent
the
BioWare lost.
so BioWare's still alive. They're just kind of spread around all over the place.
Yep. As you were alluding to earlier about those discounts,
Oh yes.
you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So PlayStation, what they do every year. They have a little they have a couple they have a stretch of time where a bunch of stuff that goes on sale. And and this last and it began on May 28th. and I believe it's still going now, but I'm not super sure.
It's
Um,
still going. I think it's like a summer thing.
yeah, it's a summer thing, so it's probably if anyone listening is interested in getting a PlayStation console or accessories or anything, you still have a good window to take advantage of the discounts. But the big highlights are like a bunch of their first party games, excuse me, went down in price
Unlike
by a
Nintendo.
sizable margin. Between like, for example, like Sackboy Big Adventure, you can get it for 19.99. You get Returnal for 29.99. Miles Morales Ultimate Edition for 39.99, etc. And this also includes very recent releases like Until Dawn, Lego Horizon Adventures, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered Remake Ultimate Edition for 29.99. The latest MLB game, etc. But the biggest thing that I was alluding to earlier is PlayStation also gave pretty substantial discounts for their consoles. So let me just make sure I have the console prices all lined up. Okay, I got them right here. So you can get a PlayStation 5 Pro for six sixty yeah, $649.99. Or you can get like the Astrobot console for I believe on $400 now or under 400. Like so like the prices got a pretty nice discount across the board.
Yeah, the
And
Pro got a $50 discount.
yeah, and I feel like keep in mind this is the first time the PS5 Pro got a proper discount. And obviously, I'm not interested in getting a Pro because I don't have the TV to support it. But if you
Can I
any of
just mention one important aspect?
oh, of course, go right ahead.
So, the Xbox Series X 2 TB edition is $730.
Yeah,
That's more expensive than Pro without the discount.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, we're laughing right now, but PlayStation might jack up the prices too for their hardware in a few months. But right now, they're
Well, I
not.
think this move is a move of aggression.
But so on the topic of the prices, then, do you think PlayStation will increase the price of their consoles?
No,
Or do you no?
they might do like the standard consoles, but I think the Pro will stay as is.
Okay. Because the biggest thing is like that's why it was like this shows PlayStation cares about hardware because they're discounting the most expensive hardware at
Also,
these
I think a key
releases.
aspect is this is for the US. I think the European guys get a little bit more screwed.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, for the US, we didn't really receive any price increases for
I think we
anything.
got like a $50 one. If
For
I'm,
I think we got the no, that was for like PlayStation Plus and all the tiers.
no, I think they
Everyone
got a
got that.
console upgrade for $50, the base one,
Hmm.
because I think the Slim was a bit more expensive than what the base PS5 was.
Yeah, you're right.
Not the Slim, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The one with the what no disc.
Half-Life 3, the myth, the vaporware.
The
Uh,
vaporware. People have been talking about Half-Life 3 a lot more this year for some reason. Like, I don't believe it's real.
I think it's real. I just think Valve is happy to take the time.
Well, there's no rush because, like, they make Steam. They get they could just do nothing and make all the money in the world.
This comes from a known Hollywood leaker, to be clear.
Hmm.
He leaks a lot of Hollywood stuff, but he says it's been designed as the final chapter.
I would hope. I would hope. You people been waiting for Half-Life, and you're telling me they're gonna make the third one have a cliffhanger? It's like making Shenmue 3, but that doesn't end the story. Wait a minute.
Speaking of Cliffhanger, you know what the Black Panther studio name was?
What?
Cliffhanger.
Oh God. Da 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 da. Speaking of
This is finally
things
coming from the Xbox Showcase. Starfield's coming to PS5.
I don't remember seeing that at the showcase.
We didn't even see the Starfield DLC either.
Yeah, so the apparently it's coming to PlayStation 5, but
I believe it's coming. I just don't know when they're going to announce it. Maybe a Gamescom.
probably they're probably waiting on the reveal for the next expansion and similar
I
they
think
don't
they're
want
going to
to,
do a double reveal with that.
yeah, the expansion then, oh, Starfield's coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2 or something.
Bold prediction: Starfield DLC and PS5 port in December.
I will believe that if this reveal
Because
happens.
they announced the Indiana DLC for September.
That's true.
So I don't see them. I think they need a little more time, and they could maybe said let's do it December because they haven't
Hmm.
announced anything for December yet, and they usually have something there.
I could see that. I could see Starfield and a couple of Xbox ports around for the holiday season for PlayStation and Switch.
Yeah, because we have Gears coming in August,
Oh yes.
and I think that's it for now. Because I don't know. Oh, Hellblade 2 at some point.
Hellblade 2 probably in July or August.
Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, the forgotten game.
Yagoti.
No, not even close.
Oh no, it's KCD 2, sorry.
Then Split Fiction, and
Wow.
Death Stranding will end up in my goatee though.
I could see that.
Let's talk about its DLC, Claws of Awaji.
September release.
Yes.
And this also
An important
those
note is this, the game ended on like a cliffhanger, so the story feels unresolved.
really?
Yeah,
That's interesting. So this is probably gonna be how they resolve it then.
yeah, they did. They kind of did the same in the past before, but not to this extent because the last few games actually felt like that it ended their games. But this one, the
Hmm.
story just felt like, oh, to be continued.
Well, they're probably like I can imagine this also lining up with the Switch 2 release because that was stated, that was leaked that it's coming to Switch 2.
And there's
So I
also a
could
co-op
see.
mode in development.
Hmm.
What's important to note is with Valhalla being such a successful game through the pandemic, they designed Shadows to be more of a live service title.
I could see that.
So this is probably their approach, splitting the content.
Yeah, every couple of months they release something to keep people coming back.
Yep. Let's talk about also they did the Ragnarok DLC right before God of War Ragnarok came out.
That's a good point.
Let's talk about PlayStation Star's loyalty program is being shut down.
I used to use this to get extra like $5 for PS like credit. I
I
stopped
got a
using.
lot of value out of this because I bought all my games on PlayStation.
Oh man, I'm sorry this happened. This shut down then.
No, it's like they gave me free money. I'm not complaining. It's going away. I got like free games because of all the extra points I had.
But you want more free games.
I redeemed all my
Sure.
points for money in my bank account or in my PlayStation account.
Yeah.
So I have like fifty
I
dollars right now.
Oh, that's sick.
So yeah, I'm fine.
You can get
But
Sonic X Shower Generations for free.
my theory is I 100% believe this started out as an NFT program, and then
Well,
they
absolutely. Like they gave like the digital statues. That was obviously NFT coded.
yeah, then they realized that wasn't gonna last,
No, and they're like,
and they're like,
well,
whatever. I think in one of the press releases they said they will do some type of rewards program again.
I would hope so.
Let's talk about our Living Remaster was the best-selling game of April.
I'm surprised. People like Oblivion. They love Elder Scrolls. This is a new one.
Yeah.
It sells.
And then let's talk about Doom, the biggest launch in ID software history. I don't believe this.
It didn't do as well as they expected.
Yeah, because I think only like reached 3 million players in its first week.
They don't yeah, because Xbox doesn't say sales, they just comment players.
But it's like theorized that there's like 500K players on PlayStation, so it seems like Game Pass really stole some of its profit.
That didn't seem to happen for Elder Scrolls though.
Yeah. I
I
think
wonder why that is.
you mean maybe putting all your games in 1 month?
I think what you're saying is probably more on the money.
Because
Xbox released too much stuff, and that's why like a lot of people probably, if anything, people gonna be playing Doom the Dark Ages in like now in the summertime when things start slowing down.
I believe 33 Expeditions sold 3 million copies, right?
Yeah,
And this game reached 3 million players.
yeah.
This new AA IP sold more than this AAA first party exclusive, if I'm reading this right.
I think the main difference is people have been clamoring for like a Final Fantasy 16 coded-esque turn-based game,
Yeah, but if you think
and they
about
showed
it,
up.
Doom is a mainstream FPS and turn-based games are a bit more niche.
I don't know. Then I don't know why Doom the Dark Ages didn't land
I
that
think
way.
Xbox blew their load, and I think guess there was a bit of disappointment from the reviews.
A lot of people who really liked Eternal definitely were kind of lukewarm on it.
Yeah.
For me, I played a little bit of it, and I like the slower feel because I was overwhelmed with Eternal.
I think this year has given a shift in the gaming industry. Because these big IPs, these studios are investing in aren't as big as they used to be, it seems like.
Hmm.
Because you see a creative game like 33 sell that well.
Creative Expedition.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that, honestly. I
Yeah.
expected it to get like 1 million, maybe 2 million at most, but 3 million out of the gate, that's really impressive.
Things like people want more unique experiences than just a big IP.
I would say the Dark Ages definitely mix things up in places, but I feel like the bigger focus on story and like stripping away some of the more like super fast bullet hell stuff that you would see in Eternal kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And maybe that kind of led into, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Xbox released too much. Like, let's be real, they released too much in the span of like friggin' April and May. Like we talked about this multiple times.
Yeah.
Like they have way too much coming out in 1 month. They could have easily moved Oblivion to June as a shadow drop because guess what wasn't present at the Xbox showcase.
Sorry, Maddie. No Elder Scrolls.
So why not move that there as the big shadow drop moment and the game is more polished and it doesn't run like look on consoles.
The real question is June, July, August. Actually, June, July. What are they releasing? Nothing.
Yeah, you could have easily moved stuff around. You could have moved realistically speaking, you could have moved friggin' let me just think for a sec. You could have moved he had Expedition for the big game in April, and you kicked April off with South of Midnight, and then you could have moved Doom to June. You could have
Also,
moved.
Doom's PS5 Pro port is a bit underwhelming, I hear.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much to leverage the console's bigger power.
Yeah, so like they could have used time to, leverage it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about real fans. Actually, no.
Oh
Let's talk
God.
about the Avowed director first. Leaves Obsidian for Netflix games.
She got that bag. God bless her. Hopefully it turns out well.
What if the Avowed IP is on hold and a Fallout game is in development instead?
I think what's probably happening, especially since that roadmap is just basic features, they're just finishing what they started, and that team is going to be fast tracked to um potentially a Fallout project.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if I'm Xbox and everyone is, and you have the new season of the Fallout show coming out sometime next year, you want to have a announcement for a New Vegas remastered or something, so you have something you can release alongside the show.
yeah. And
Expecting a New Vegas 2 in like a year is way too much to ask.
just to
But
say, both of your main teams are releasing their games this year.
Yeah.
So
So,
like,
but you mentioned real fans and Mr. Pitchford. This is so frustrating because he gave a really good answer to this at PAX East. Like during a panel, he was basically like very earnest and transparent. Like, hey, we know how hard it is with the
I
situation
think
we're
he did
in
it on purpose.
on purpose.
He wants to controversy sells.
Bro, so he makes himself look like an ass on purpose?
You never know, more how many more people tune in about Borderlands than they would have before?
I mean, I don't give it. I mean, I'm not even engaging with it if it's $80.
Yeah,
So
but you got way more attention.
it's just frustrating when he gave
Because
a good
if he gave
answer.
you a good answer, then must have mean he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he gave a good answer at PAX about the situation, and fans are very receptive to it. So if the game really is $80 and we're going off of what he said at PAX East, then okay, it's not good and I don't like it, but at least he wasn't being a jerk about it. But him being like, "Oh, real fans," I'm not even touching the game now. I'm sorry. Like you'll get into the whole thing with Outer Worlds 2 later, but like at least I could say Obsidian makes great games and they're not gonna be jerks about the price point. They're gonna give a very
I mean, he is right about his quote though. Real fans will buy it, just all five of them.
yeah, all five of them are gonna buy it and they can and God bless them.
Because half most people make fun of your IP.
Yeah, the IP that's so the IP that is so premium, where like you are so proud of an awful movie. God, good job. Good job.
Naughty Dog confirms a secret game in development.
Jack 4, Jack 4.
Are we gonna be real or delusional? It's probably Uncharted 5, is my
Yeah,
feeling.
that makes the most sense. I mean, like there was that whole like live action thing where Drake's daughter was one
Uncharted
of them.
5 is definitely at least in pre-production, if not development.
I imagine that has to be the case.
Yeah.
Just please, no more Last of Us,
I
please.
mean, he said no three, no part three for now.
That doesn't mean that the Last of Us Part Two remake is not off the table. Naughty Dog and every and loving to repackage old stuff, bro. You know how that is.
Former Marathon developer is working on game was toxic.
I'm not surprised, especially with all the allegations happening right now.
He said, let me get the exact quote, extremely toxic and humiliating.
Glad he's not working on the game anymore, then is in a better position.
Bungie leadership needs to be gutted completely.
Yep, that's a common thing that keeps being said, and nothing's happening. So nothing short of us either extensive studio shutdown or extensive like Sony stepping in and just gutting like 30% of the team,
They're just execs who've been in power for too long.
and they need to get out.
Yeah. Uh, Activision let them leave with the IP.
Activision's like, we don't want to deal with you anymore. Please go. Please, we got Call of Duty. We're good.
This is a story that I like.
Of
GTA
course.
5 sells more copies in 3 months than most games.
Oh,
5 million
absolutely.
copies, I believe.
Yeah, you know how many times GTA got re-released?
Yeah, but like those copies were probably like $20 a pop. They're not full price copies, so but that's crazy though. Who hasn't
Imagine
played it
how
yet?
much. Imagine how much they're gonna sell when GTA 6 drops at $100.
80?
I hope it's 80. I really hope it's 80.
Your delusion is 100.
I hope my delusions are wrong.
All right, let's talk about more Bungie's in free fall. Shocker.
I know, right? Wow. Who didn't see that coming after the art theft
Look
stuff?
at the thumbnail of this article.
Let me open it up and see. Oh, oh my, wow. That is funny. That took me off guard.
For the audience, it's a picture of a marathon, one of their marathon characters with like a grayed out square that says asset removed.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
We're
Wow.
gonna have to use this in the thumbnail of the
I
video.
was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. It has to be there somewhere.
Yeah. All
Man.
right. Let's talk about. Oh, there's also Bungie response to art theft claims.
Claims? What do you mean? That's the reality of what happened. There's no claims.
Committed to do right for the fifth time.
For the fifth time. This is literally this is the equivalent of you put your hand in a cookie jar and and the and the mom's like, this is the fifth time. No more cookies.
Figure it out, bro.
Jesus.
Let's talk about a game that people keep bringing up. Order 86 was going to be a trilogy with a multiplayer mode.
It was PlayStation's answer to Gears of War.
Uh, yeah, it was going to be already done, but the sequel was in early stages of development, but it was canceled. Shocker.
The game, I remember the original release was very short. It was full priced, and yeah, the black bars. This Ready at Dawn made some really good games. They made some of the best God of War games on the PSP. They made Daxter, which I thought was really good. So it's sad to see that, but it is what it
Let's
is.
talk. If it was not for the gaming events, this would have been the biggest story of the month.
Oh, Jade Raymond.
Leaves Haven Studios after a test of the game that went terrible.
So not only we got Concord and Concord 2 Marathon, now we got Concord 3
Also, a funny story.
tagging.
Apparently, according to Jason Schreier, they renamed the game with the dollar sign to a S.
That's gonna fix everything. Ship it.
Yeah, it's apparently it's like a cross between Battle Royale and a Division.
I could see something like at the Division.
Conceptually, it's really good, but apparently, like the gunplay needs some refinement because it feels a little janky.
I wonder what. Oh man, PlayStation needs a win for live service.
I
So,
think I don't know. I feel like this game has a chance if they let the developers take their time and make a good
but why
product.
did Jade Raymond leave if the game was not it's not turning out well?
It's not turning out well because the play test was terrible. They're like, "Yo, Jade, you messed up. Get out of here." Nicely.
So this is a punishment for the playtest not going well.
We're like, "This has been 4 years. This is all you got."
Hmm.
I feel like I don't know, either she left because she's like, "This is not going well," or she was given a nudge.
I guess we'll see, man.
I mean, important thing to point out, she's only a producer, not a creative.
Hmm.
Except everything she produces has not gone well. So she must be not a very good producer.
Speaking of her past work, Ubisoft has delayed major IP to improve quality. So that translates to we're not going to be seeing the Splinter Cell remake for quite a while.
I don't think so. I think it's just gonna be like a 2027 thing.
I could see that. Yeah, it makes more sense.
You just need like another year.
Yeah. One more year for them to cook up Rayman. They're gonna be.
And
There's
also a
rumbles
lot of changes if they're taking this long to make it.
for Splinter Cell, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it was announced, I want to say in 2022, 2023.
Maybe instead of just being a straight, it's probably just more like a reboot rather than a remake at this point.
Yeah, there was that quote about modern audiences.
Hmm.
Let's talk about let's talk about Battlefield's campaign to take
Ooh.
inspiration from Civil War, the movie from last year, and Dead Space.
And we have the developers of Dead Space Remake helping out with Battlefield.
Yeah.
So
Mention Alex Garland's 2024 movie Civil War is a good reference to some things the developers are pushing. They're interested in the concept of talented but ordinary people put in extraordinary situations. Seems like they're cooking a good FPS campaign this year.
that'll be really cool to see. Competition for Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Call of Duty is going to have an off year this year, so I think this is a good year to release it.
Speaking of things potentially missing, we have Marvel 1943
What do you
Rise of
mean
Hydra
missing?
missing this year.
Okay, okay. Just checking.
See, I'm trying to be clever and it failed. Anyway, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has been delayed to early
This makes
2026.
sense because I think the actor said a couple months ago they're expecting the game December.
Hmm.
So like, that's kind of seems like not a really good month to release this game. But yeah, it's Amy
Honestly,
Hennig. She pushes things really to the next level with the visuals, so it does need its polish, I feel.
also like another thing to consider is if it's not a big deal if you miss the fall window anymore, because February is like the new holiday season.
Yeah,
A lot of big games come out in February, so if that's a February title, then it's not really like missing a beat, just an extra month or two of polish.
2026 is already packed with some more
Oh
announcements
man,
later
it's
in the show.
crazy what's coming out next year.
Yeah, Fall Season 3 already announced.
Not surprised. Season one was amazing, so let's keep going.
Yeah, for the release of Season 3, they're giving us a fishing mini game.
Oh, it's season two.
Because I don't know if you saw that 76 trailer.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, wow, okay.
A fishing game, a fishing mini game.
We're going down by the bayou to fish some mutant creatures.
Bethesda presents more 76.
Oh yes, every year they do that. Every year, never
I
gets old.
I want to know what the Matty Tears are gonna like.
Maddie was like, "Wow."
So the Bethesda presents like two times, and it was
Live service nonsense.
a little bit more on X Defiant. Mark Rubin leaves the industry as this, his game has shut down forever.
Well, he's upset. I mean, that makes sense. Like his thing got shut down. So
Yeah,
like,
but if I remember, there's some reporting about some toxic leadership from him last year.
hmm,
So I'm not sure. And the last Call of Duty he made was kind of hated by the players,
damn.
so he is kind of not the most well-known career. Something for arcade to get into the Death Stranding universe.
Oh yes, Death Stranding has an anime in production.
Yes.
And for you, good sir, there's a Death Stranding 2 quote that you.
Let me open up the thing.
Yes.
All right, this comes from the technical officer. We talk about PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5 architecture. This is the most obvious improvement from a technological point of view is the reduction in loading times. But to be honest, the difference in the two hardware system isn't so great. It's more of a case that PS5, there are more efficient ways of arriving at similar goals. Our artists are less restrained to create the world without having to come up with workarounds. But of course, this freedom has a knock-on effect and technical challenges for the programmers in some ways. It's creating an environment where the artists are now out of control.
That makes sense with how the industry is going.
Those artists will always be some cooking some mad stuff. Speaking of $80, you want to take this one?
Oh yeah, PlayStation users are pre-ordering Ghost of Yaute's $80 edition.
More PlayStation users.
Yeah, more PlayStation users. And I'm kind of like, well, what does the $80 version offer? Like, is it like
It's
early
like some
access?
digital, perks. Like with this horse, you get early in the game, some gear,
Is it like
some
early
traveler.
access?
The most notable, no, there's no early access.
Then I don't know why people are going for the $80 version now. Obviously, it's
It's
like the
just
nice
in-game
cut.
cosmetics.
Mhm.
An early unlock of the Traverse maps and a sword kit.
So basic fluff stuff
Yeah,
and some nice quality of life things, I guess.
I wonder if it's kind of a protest to Nintendo. Because
Maybe.
there's like at about this the pre-orders went up exactly at the time of the Switch 2 event, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I
But
wonder
what
if this
you
is kind of, like a protest from Sony players to
but
Nintendo.
how is it a protest if you're
Yeah,
paying $80?
because it's actually worth it with the budget.
I need to play more Mario Kart World to kind of comment on if it's worth the price or not, but I definitely I can kind of agree if you're paying $80 production quality of like a Ghost of Yaute and the like. It's not great, but you can kind of understand why.
Yeah, I don't understand why for Mario Kart game.
I don't either, but I guess I'll find out at some point.
It's called Nintendo wants more money.
Well, the China also wants quite a bit of money from in its own liberty. So take it away.
Tencent has acquired 15.75% of Arrowhead.
Not surprising. They got their tendrils and everything in this industry.
It's just funny because they just said, for the next game we're gonna publish ourselves. We don't need PlayStation.
I wonder if that bridge was burnt because of the PC stuff.
I don't think it's burnt, but I do think they want more control because Sony was kind of pushing the PlayStation PSN.
Yeah, and they stopped doing that as much now.
Yeah, but it was a lesson they had to learn. Let's talk about Black Myth Wukong coming to August 20. Take it away, Tinfoil Man.
It's coming to August 20.
It's coming.
Oh, okay. I was trying to be funny, sorry.
Before we get into the tinfoil theories, there have been let's say precedent of the studio using August 20 in many of their releases and
Yeah,
announcements.
they made a comment that it's like a milestone date for a lot of reveals, announcements, and everything.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was like a superstitious thing.
I think the reality is like it took it they just taking their time optimizing
Yeah. I
because
also
like
heard a rumor that they were offered the Chinese Hero Project program from Sony, but they said no.
hmm there's a lot of conflicting messaging about like, oh, did they take the ban from PlayStation? Did they not? And like, there's people like I can attest, like Iron Lord's King. He talked with Xbox people, and they some essentially alluded to we can't comment on decisions our partners make. At the same time, it's like I think it's a combination of multiple things. Combination of maybe getting assistance from PlayStation, a combination of the game genuinely needing the time for optimization because it did not run well on PS5.
Yeah.
Like it did not. So like if it couldn't run on
You have to
PS5,
think, you gotta think the audience and who's buying your game.
but not even just that, like it did not run well on PS5.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
maybe they thought to prioritize who's gonna buy it the most.
yeah, but
'Cause
the
they're
point
not
I'm
the they're
trying
not the only developer who can skip.
but the point I'm getting at here is like if you're gonna be if the option is release on one platform and PC and focus on our efforts on making it somewhat playable on one box versus versus doing it on multiple boxes and the game being lesser. I guess they made the right decision in the end because you have Xbox players who will buy Black Myth if they waited, and if they didn't wait, then they just play on PC. So hopefully, I'm very curious to see how the Series S version was because the game doesn't again did not run well on PS5, and Series S is definitely far weaker than the PS5.
Yeah.
So
Cyberpunk may be having more DLC, more quests.
Hmm.
We're not done yet, they say. Stay tuned for more info for the next Cyberpunk update coming later this month. And there's a
Translation, they got a bit, they're getting a second win from the Switch 2 release, and they're gonna be using that to get more content in Cyberpunk.
like an expansion, there's probably some quests.
Yeah.
But
No, they got the big expansion. They're probably just gonna be adding some quality of life things, some more optimization, maybe 60 FPS mode for docked play. Like there's a couple of things they could still do. So I guess we'll see what they end up doing.
yeah, well, that's a wrap for our regular news. Before we
Oh
get into the
yes.
state of play, anything you wanna
All
take?
right, I'll kick it off with this because this definitely made me go, wait, what? When this reveal happened. So everyone, you remember Marvel versus Capcom, right? Everyone loved that tag fighter game. It was awesome. Well, Marvel said, hey, you know what? We don't need you, Capcom. We got Arc System Works to help us.
Not only
And now,
Marvel, but PlayStation's second party game.
yep, and PlayStation stepped in, and now we have a 4v4 tag fighter called Marvel
Token.
Token Fighting Souls.
Yeah, very Japanese art style of the characters.
Yeah, and Marvel specifically told Arc System Works to make it their own, not just copy like the Western art style for Marvel characters. So that is really cool to see that they're just letting this team go nuts with character designs and concepts and everything. Like you have a lot of characters. You have Iron Man, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, and a whole bunch of other characters playable. And it's coming out next year. And the only thing to keep an eye out for is that this is an Arc System Works game. So expect them to support it with a lot of characters for a long stretch of time, and that means a lot of DLC.
Yep. Now the next one goes to me.
Oh yes.
For one of my favorite, my basically my favorite film franchise has got its game revealed finally. James Bond or 007 First Light has got a reveal at the State of Play. And
Hmm.
man, does it look excellent.
It looks
It's,
like a combination between like a linear action title and what they did with Hitman.
yep. And there will be driving, which I doesn't do really much.
Wow.
And this, what's unique about this is James Bond's origin story has always kind of been unique and mysterious. And they said, we're going to tackle that. And before he became the legendary spy, this is his origin story.
That's cool.
He starts as a Navy air crewman. Yeah, IOI is really stepping their game up.
Yeah, they killed it with Hitman and they're killing it with other projects now.
Yeah. And we'll talk about another IOI announcement for Summer Games Fest later.
Oh yes. But for this one, I don't have too much to say.
There's a Neo 3 demo now live for the
Yes,
players.
it was announced on PS5 and it's a limited time demo. I don't mess with Souls games, but for any Souls fans listening, have fun.
Yeah. It's not really a Souls game though.
It's Souls coded in ways, so I
But yeah,
don't.
but there are other ways where it's kind of a bit more like the older, Omnimusha kind of style of games. It's kind of a mix of the two, I would say. But yeah, it's not my type of tea in either. Let's talk about Sword of the Sea from, I believe, the
This
Journey
one looks
developers.
really cool. Like former developers who worked on games like Journey,
Yep.
and it looks beautiful. And it's launching August 19th on PS5 as part of the PS Plus Extra / Premium catalog.
I'm not really an indie guy, but this looks like something I want to check out.
I love the art style. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does. Let's talk about Ghosts of Yotai getting. We got blue balled, the guys. They showed Ghosts of Yotai for 10 seconds and say, see you in July.
Oh yes. They're like, you thought you were getting a big deep dive? Nope.
next month.
Next month.
I
Come
mean,
back next month.
kind of smart of them saying, we want all the attention for ourselves."
Yeah, plus they also want to have other like announcements too, so
Yeah. Do they? I thought it was just for Ghost of Yotei next month.
oh yeah, you're right.
Just a state of play dedicated to Ghost. Speaking of first party, Astrobot gets 5 more levels.
Yay. Let's
And they're
go.
even including a Ghost of Yotei bot before the game comes out.
I wouldn't be surprised if Death Stranding 2 bots get added.
Oh, that would be awesome too. Let's talk about Neo
Oh,
3.
we
Oh,
talked
we already
about
talked about
this.
Neo 3.
Yes.
That showed up twice.
It's Neo 3.5.
Silent Hill F launches September 25th.
I didn't get a chance to catch this gameplay trail. What did you think of it?
I think it looks pretty visceral. What's interesting I find is for Silent Hill game, not a Silent Hill, perhaps. This is in
Hmm.
Japan, I believe.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So that is an interesting take. It's also by a Chinese team.
That's cool.
Another highlight I found was Pragmata.
It's not vaporware anymore. Let's go.
I love It's Real This Time XD at the end when they show the release date.
Yeah,
Kind of looks more simplistic than I thought it would be because I guess there probably was some development hell and they kind of didn't know what direction to take the game in.
yeah.
It seems like a pretty straightforward game from what we've seen so far.
But something that really appealed to Lord Sonic was Luminous Arise. This was the first that I saw. I was when I this keep in mind this was happening during the whole Switch 2 launch. So the first place I went to when I was trying to get my console was GameStop, and I saw a trailer. On someone had was watching this State of Play and was showing this trailer. I'm like, yo, this looks so good. I love Luminous. It's like a music. It's music meets Tetris, and it's beautiful. So really nice to see that franchise come back.
Yep. And then new premium titles to the premium tier
Oh yes,
with the OGRE games.
yeah. Resident Evil 2 and
Also,
3.
one thing you forgot to mention about Sword of the Sea is PlayStation Plus game, I believe.
I think that we mentioned that. We mentioned
Oh,
it's the day
oh, do
one as
we?
part of the extra and premium tier.
Oh, my bad. But
No, it's all
yes,
good, man.
we get NBA 2K25, Alone in the Dark, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and then we also get Mist and Riven.
Ooh, gotta add all that to my lineup.
Yeah. And
Twisted,
then
Twisted
Metal,
Metal makes sense because for like when that drops because that's when the new season for the show releases.
yep, Metal 3 and 4, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear got more gameplay.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they teased Metal Gear Online.
Yeah, they did
I did
tease
not
that.
expect that to come back.
Me neither. I didn't even know there was online mode.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 had like an online mode. Wait, no, I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was introduced in 3 or if it was introduced in 4. I think it was 3 that introduced it. They introduced it in, but that is so cool at doing that.
So a few other announcements. They're kind of smaller, so I didn't really write them separately. Is we got Bloodstained,
Yep. Right.
Cairn, Digimon. Some I don't know who buys these games.
Digimon can be cool. Just because you hate Weeb doesn't
Isn't it
mean
just
that
a different version of Pokemon?
it's different, but it's its own thing in places.
Everybody's golf hot shots.
Yes.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yes, that was leaked for a long time, so that being revealed was big. And Ben Starr, and it's being developed by the people that did Final Fantasy 16. Let's go.
Mortal Kombat Legacy.
That a nice collection of games.
Ninja Gaiden in the Ridgebound.
Ragebound.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2D one.
And then, oh yeah, did you see that fighting joystick controller?
Yeah, PlayStation's having their own. That was revealed before the Marvel game announcement. So I was like, what's this
I
for?
think it was after Mortal Kombat. They showed it.
Yeah, but like
But
that's a
I
collection. You
don't
don't
like
make
fighting games, but that controller looks sick.
it looks really nice. It looks premium.
Yeah. Okay, Jim Ryan.
It looks premium. But
Oh, Thief VR.
oh, Deadpool VR or what was
Thief. Thief
Teeth?
VR.
Okay.
You know, it's like an iconic game.
Yeah.
And then Tides of Tomorrow, a multiplayer game with a story
Mm.
where like players are interact with each other and consequences go to other players.
Yeah.
It looked cool, but I don't know. It sounds too ambitious.
Hmm.
But that's it for State of Play. Anything you want to say before we move on?
I don't know. I don't have much to say, but people were kind of mixed on it. But I thought it was a solid state of play.
Honestly, all of the three shows, I think I like the State of Play the most.
I feel like the state of play was definitely better in places than the Xbox show, but the Xbox show had things I was really excited about
The
too.
Xbox had like big announcements I was excited about, but I found the State of Play more consistent.
Yeah, it had a better like cadence of announcements.
Yeah.
Like we'll get to doing the Xbox stuff, but there was a lot of games that you could have shuffled around, and people would have been it would have been like people would have been a lot more receptive to the show.
I thought Summer Games Fest was like a disappointment.
Well, I guess we'll just keep it brief for this then because I'll talk
Let
about.
me just go through them quickly and then we'll stop at anything you want to discuss.
Okay, sounds good.
Acts of Blood. I don't have anything. I think it's kind of like Saifu, if I remember.
I didn't get a chance to really watch that trailer.
It looked cool though. And then somehow Atomic Heart 2 got a sequel.
This was the most surprising reveal. Like it looked wild what they were trying to pull off with that.
Yeah, but wasn't the first game like received poorly?
It was more mixed, but it sold well enough for the developer to make that and another game that was
And then
revealed.
publish another game.
Yeah,
That was crazy. Blighted.
this was exciting because I like Drinkbox. This is like a dead take on like a Hades-esque dungeon crawler.
Mhm.
So that's really cool.
Chrono Odyssey.
Hmm. I forgot what this one was, to be honest.
I have no idea what it is either. Code Vein 2 though.
Souls, let's move on.
Deadpool VR.
That is wild that we have a Deadpool VR game, but
And
we
it's
don't.
a Neil Patrick Harris.
That's funny.
I think there's a joke in the trailer that says, sorry, we're not Insomniac.
Yo, that's funny.
Death Stranding 2, you got a cinematic scene.
What
And
do you?
then there's also a gameplay demo today at some point.
Ooh.
And
But as
then
this Dune Awakening, I can comment on this a little bit. It's out now, and I played the demo for this at PAX East, and I thought it was okay.
I thought it looked like a PS3 game. The visuals weren't the best, but maybe because it's an MMO and it's more ambition there.
Yeah.
Dying Light
Dying
got a
Light,
gameplay trailer. It'll be $60, I think.
yeah, Dying Light the Beast. It looks
The
awesome.
developers responded on Twitter, by the way. Like some people were saying, "Wow, this is like, isn't this like a spin-off DLC thing?" And they're like, "There's 20 hours of content, so we think it's worth the $60."
Yeah, originally was a deal like a side project, but it just turned into its own thing.
Yeah, I said we have lots of content here, and we're happy to charge $60.
That's good. I'm glad that develop like that's a case of like the scope got bigger and it's a bigger project. You're not selling it's not 70, so
Glad
people
to
should
hear
be
that.
doing that.
And then End of Abyss.
I forgot I didn't really forgot what this one looked like.
It's I don't know what it is either actually.
I will say the next one felt that boxing is so wild and out of pocket. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. It's basically like some type of boxing game, but with like Muppet looking characters. That's weird, but I think that's cool too.
Yeah, it's cool here. All right, let's continue on. We have Fortnite Star Wars event.
We got Battlefront at home. Let's move on.
Let's talk about Game of Thrones War for Westeros.
That's like the. It looks like a turn-based
It's RTS.
RTS game. Yeah, that's what it looked like.
And then
I
the,
forgot.
the, the horror game published by Moonfish.
Ooh,
And I think I heard someone say it's using some of the physics systems from Atomic Heart.
what was the game called again that you just
It's
mentioned?
just ILL,
Oh yeah.
ill or something like that.
Hmm.
Weird name, but it looks pretty impressive as a horror game.
It
Very
does.
graphic. You have anything to say about infinitesimals?
I even know what this is. Like, I'm kind of blanking out on a lot of the Summer Games Fest stuff.
Yeah,
So sorry if I'm
there's a
making up
lot of
more.
projects from newer teams.
I guess in this case, I can just talk about what really kind of appealed to me. In that case, there was Mina the Hollower. It got a release date announcement for this fall, I believe, or next year. I forgot the date, but there's a demo out right now on Steam.
We talked about End of the Abyss earlier. It's the game from the former Little Nightmare devs,
Ooh, that's cool.
published by Epic.
Wow.
And then I forgot to mention Mortal Shell 2. I know
Another
you're not
Souls.
into that, and neither am I, but I think it was a
It's a big win.
pretty double A Souls-like that was liked.
Yeah. Mouse PI, Troy Baker is playing the character.
I saw that.
That's
Chronic
cool.
Chronicles Medieval, a new medieval RPG, it seems like.
Ooh,
Tom Hardy narrated it too.
nice. And this is for me and Maddie, Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. That's a wild announcement, but hopefully it's not garbage.
And then Killer Inn was on the multiplayer game.
Hmm. Oh, another big announcement was do you like the Scott Pilgrim stuff?
I've seen the movie. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, they're making a sequel to the beat 'em up game, Scott Pilgrim EX.
Yeah.
It looks really sick.
And the Lego Party also looks cool.
Yeah, that's the two-player one, right? Where you play as the Lego blocks.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play this, but it looked cool for people who like co-op.
And of course for
Oh,
Lords,
no, no, no. Sorry, you were thinking about Lego Voyagers.
yeah, Voyagers.
That's the one I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I will look
Lies
forward
of
to it.
P has released this DLC.
Yes. Hope Maddie and everyone who likes those type of games are happy.
So, anime guy, do you like the mech game?
It looks cool. Like I didn't get a chance to play it at Comic-Con when I was just, saw the interview Kaga and PD had it with the developers, but it looked really cool. And I'm
Yeah.
really happy to see that it's coming out soon.
And then MindsEye got a new trailer, which actually looked pretty good. But
And Sega was here with two
S-
titles that caught my eye.
Sonic Racing,
Sonic Racing, where we get
I don't
crossover.
know how Sonic Racing is gonna compete against Mario Kart.
I think it's gonna. I think the benefit Sonic Racing has is it is they're different. They're completely different games. Mario Kart is more like it's more open. It's more like, oh, we have tracks, but you can kind of approach them however you want. Sonic Racing Crossroads is literally just an arcade racing game through and through, like unabashed, and like what really helps it is it's leaning into like the crossover aspect with Sega properties and Atlas properties. So you have Hatsune Miku, you have Ichiban from Yakuza, and you have Joker from Persona. And it's very, very likely we're gonna get additional characters popping up as well from Sega and Atlas. I would not be surprised if the Metaphor protagonist shows up riding on that hover sword,
Hmm.
or we get some classic Sega characters joining Sonic and friends. But they also revealed that the season pass is gonna include actual crossover characters, with the one of the revealed ones being Minecraft and some of the leaked ones being WoW. Those are some interesting picks. But I think there's a market for Sonic Racing. I don't think it's like, oh, Mario Kart's gonna eat its lunch. I think Sonic Racing will be okay. But the main thing about Sonic Racing is instead of taking advantage of a potential 50 or $60 price point, Sega's going like, Sonic is a premium franchise now, $70. And I'm kind of wondering, like, okay, where you gonna have the content for it? Because as lack of like direction as Mario Kart World open world is, it is an open world. You have missions you can complete. You have like 300 something missions you can do. And you have a lot of variety with the different like how they approach things. So content wise, it definitely is a good bit more money than it should be, but you're getting the value in some places. With Sonic Racing, didn't really reveal what the single player side of things like. We know what the multiplayer is going to be like, but what is single player content? And if you want to get all the digital deluxe season pass stuff, it's going to run you $90. Obviously, you know me. This is where I have to bend the friggin' knee. But this is different. This is interesting for Sonic. The franchise never usually goes above like a threshold of like 50 to it doesn't go above $60. Even during the even during this generation with things like Frontiers and Sonic XL generations, it launched at a lower price point than other games. So this being a proper $70 Sonic game means it's gonna have the budget for good visual quality, and are you gonna have the content to warrant the high price point? And I think that we'll find out in September about that.
I wouldn't play Sonic for free.
I know, I
Let's talk
know.
about mixtape.
Oh yes, mixtape.
You got a trailer at Summer Games Fest.
Can you remind me what that one is again? Is that the beat 'em up game where you can pick your own music to it? Oh no, that's a completely different thing. I'm
That's a
thinking.
different thing, yeah.
Sorry.
Where was it? Oh yeah, Mafia got another trailer. It looks
Oh
really
yes,
good.
nice.
Marvel Cosmic Isolation.
In Cosmic Invasion with She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon being revealed.
Oh, another highlight, Onimusha.
Ooh, yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Oh, I think this might have been my highlight of the show, Project Sentry. Or now is it called Stranger Than Heaven?
Oh yes, the Yakuza guys keep friggin' cooking.
Yeah, I think this takes place over like 100 years, so it's gonna be
Wow.
interesting. Because if you look at the thumbnail of the first trailer and the second trailer, it's like the same person but at different ages.
So I think that's probably the one of the mechanics of the game.
I
Maybe,
think might be the guy like he can't die, maybe. Because he has like
maybe.
these blue eyes that are really weird.
Hmm.
Something a
So
bit
Yakuza, so they're leaning into the mystical aspect then, maybe.
maybe. But it's like the city looked pretty grounded, so I'm kind of interested where that goes.
Hmm. But I think
And
that.
let's talk about Splitgate.
Oh yes, the developers coming out and saying like, screw Call of Duty.
Uh, my favorite part was I want Titanfall 3. And then like someone screamed bars. You know who that was?
Yeah, I know who that was. That was Cog. That was Cog going, yeah, yeah, let's go.
Love Kong.
Cog is awesome. I know he popped off doing something that was revealed at the Xbox showcase for sure.
It was kind of sad to hear that hey, we want to do something different than COD, and then we just released the battle royale with $80 bundles.
Yep. Hey, love to see it. Hate to see it.
Let's talk about the Cube from the Monthfish devs.
Oh
The spin
yes, the
sp-
mold.
the spin-off of Atomic Heart multiplayer MMO spin-off.
That's how they're gonna. That's how they get them the funding for everything. Let's be
I
real.
believe our Xbox fan knows Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers.
I'm familiar with it. I know it's coming to Game Pass. So
And then there's another Wu Tang, Rise of the Seahawk.
yes, that was originally that was like an Xbox publishing thing, but things fell through, and now it's its own project.
Now, how can we not talk about the biggest game of the show?
What?
Resident Evil 9.
I didn't see the trailer for this one.
You really didn't?
No, because I was remember I was doing the midnight launch thing for the Switch.
Oh, because that's like the we have one final thing to announce.
Yeah, so what did you make of it?
So I'm not a Resident Evil fan. I think 2 and 4 are good games, but I'm not really a fan of the series. But I thought that trailer was like impressive. Like the fidelity of the characters look insane.
Yeah, the RE engine shows out when it comes to visuals.
Yeah, it was like the character models look great, and it goes back to Raccoon City, the setting of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear.
The protagonist is apparently the daughter of a character from a spinoff, interestingly.
Ooh, Code Veronica, right? I think that's what they said.
Yeah.
Code Veronica was the mainline one. Hmm.
No, it wasn't Code Veronica, it was something else.
Mhm.
Was it? Because that Code Veronica's in the spinoff, is it?
No, I don't think it's a spinoff. So, but yeah, like I think that's everything for Summer Games Fest.
Yeah. And there was an IOI showcase after. Oh, there was one announcement we missed.
What?
IOI made an announcement.
Ooh.
There's a crossover with Hitman and Bond out now.
Are you playing it?
No, because I don't own Hitman World Assassination. But they're doing a mission with a Bond villain and you have to like kill him
Ooh, that's cool.
from one of the most iconic Bond films.
Casino Royale, right?
Yes. Yes, Le Chiffre, played by a famous Danish actor.
That's awesome.
He was also in Death Stranding 2, if you don't know. But yeah, that was awesome to hear. Now let's talk about the Xbox Showcase.
Oh yes,
Hold
I
on.
will.
Review of SGF.
Oh yes. So we have the Outer Worlds 2 getting a short little like trailer kind of going over the like, oh yeah, um we have a state of play. Not state of play.
Xbox Direct, Developer Direct.
Yes, thank you. A developer direct for Outer Worlds 2. I did not watch that, but that was there. High on Life 2 will follow that reveal. And I didn't expect a sequel to this. But it was really cool. Like you had different guns, like a flamethrower one, you have dual pistols, and it looks like there's gonna be more focus on like moving around quicker because your character uses the skateboard. And it's day one Game Pass. Um, then there was Renaissance, a Plague Tale Legacy, which continues another installment in the Plague Tale games. It was visually very impressive looking, and it's Game Pass when it comes out. And oh, and keep in mind, a lot of these announcements also have the PlayStation 5 logo on them. So for
Yep.
Outer Worlds 2, day one on PS5.
Let's talk about the end reveal, the disappointment. Black Ops.
Yes, Black Ops
We
7.
have one more thing.
One more thing, and the funny part is he was teeing it up as like, it's a big Xbox franchise.
It is a big Xbox franchise, technically.
Call of Duty, Call of
Yeah.
Duty.
I mean, that trailer looks like I did not know it was Call of Duty like for the
I
first few
didn't know
minutes.
either. It looks so cool, and then at the end you get like the typical Call of Duty sounds. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. And I was literally part of a stream with a bunch of people, and there was like, screw Xbox.
I mean, it is interesting that Raven and Treyarch did Black Ops 6 last year. They're doing Black Ops
Yeah.
7 this year.
Apparently they're doing the campaign too.
Yeah, co-op campaign.
I did they develop this alongside Black
I
Ops
think they did
6?
because they got a 4-year development cycle, if you remember.
So I'm guessing they spent the years making two games back to back.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
That's weird though that they should have saved, you know what they probably should have done? They should have saved like one of the other reveals, like Revolution, which had a really impressive gameplay showcase.
Yeah, they should say that one for the end. That looked great.
That one would have been a great end point. Well,
Let's talk about Clockwork now.
oh yeah, oh my God, that looks so cool.
So ambitious.
BioShock vibes all over the place.
Oh yeah. And too bad they didn't do it yet. They said coming eventually or something.
Again with that. Oh, it's coming when it comes out. Okay, 2027. Let's go.
Let's talk about Gears of War Reloaded and a
Reloaded.
multiplayer beta.
Coming to more platforms.
And I think I read on Twitter that Gears 2026.
Yep. Yeah, something that they to kind of make a note of is that at the end of the showcase before they revealed Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Phil Spencer was like commenting 2026 is a big year for Xbox where we have Fable, we have another Forza, we have another Gears, and we have a franchise that's near and dear to us, Halo.
Yep.
So I mean, and the fact that they were just so casually saying, "Oh, we're gonna have Forza next year," why didn't you reveal it here? Like
Let's
you
talk,
could have did a teaser with Forza and Horizon in Tokyo.
let's talk about Grounded 2.
Oh yeah, coming out next month. Let's
Early
go.
access next month.
Yes.
And then we have this is yours, Keeper. Keep it away from me.
Oh man, this was a nice surprise to see. Double Fine coming out again. We get like this like immersive, like interesting looking like puzzle platforming adventure. This is just right in line with what you expect from the studio, and I already know what you're gonna say. But what did they buy? Why did they buy Double Fine if they're gonna continue making small games? Well, I'm just happy Double Fine is around making stuff they want to make and they're not being shut down. I don't really care about the business. I'm just happy they're making great looking games, and we'll see what happens.
This looks like the game they give at Indie Darling they give a Game Pass back to.
But you know what? Double Fine makes great games, so that doesn't freaking matter.
Keep it away from me.
You don't understand culture, but something that I think we can
I
both.
like platformers, but it looks like all the platformers I've seen in the show.
I will say this though, like I think every me and you both probably felt this. We saw Game Freak logo at an Xbox showcase,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
it's a good looking game. Like what
Yeah.
happened? Where was this energy for Pokemon? Beast of Reincarnation looks really good. Realistic visuals, everything looks to run relatively wellish. Like really good art direction, some sick looking combat. Where was this energy for Pokemon? Like I'm literally 1 second. 1 second. Like I'm literally renting this from the library right now to test out the performance updates for Switch 2. It took a new friggin' console for this to run better than an N64 game. Are you telling me that because it's not Pokemon Game Freak decided, oh, we're gonna put a game into this time? No way that constrained by the Nintendo Switch. No way. I'm
Let's
sorry.
talk
I fans.
let's talk about Ninja Gaiden 4.
Oh yeah, they showed off Ryu Hayabusa doing
October
his thing. Coming.
21st.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
Good. So funny how they're releasing two Xbox games a week from each other.
I know, right? They never freaking learn.
It's a
But I
first party game in Aaron's words.
absolutely. They
It's
funded
not a
it.
first party game though.
They funded it. They published it. It's Xbox, whatever. It's coming out on everything. It's not a big deal. But what is a big
Okay,
deal?
Death Stranding is a first party game.
Yeah, but what is a big deal though is Super Meat Boy 3D.
Is
I
it?
did not expect to see this here. Like this was so cool to see. They taken like a hard as hell like platformer and translating that into the 3D space. This was so cool. And your reaction says, "I'm still gonna let Arcade talk because he's happy. I really
I've
don't care."
never heard of this franchise before today.
You never heard of Meat Boy? Okay, yeah, okay. We'll just move on from that then.
Educate me, Sir Arcade.
I would, but you're just gonna make fun of me.
I'm not
So,
making fun of it. I'm just curious. What is this
okay,
franchise?
so basically, Super Meat Boy is this hard as hell 2D platformer where you're running, jumping, wall jumping, etc. And your character is this little sack of meat, and one hit, you're dead. Yeah, and but there's no lives. You can restart anytime you want. And these levels are really well designed. You have a good soundtrack, and like the friend that there was like the one main game that came out back during the 360 Xbox XBLA, and then it eventually got to more platforms later on, like PS3, Vita, PS4, Vita. Then they made like an auto runner version of the game, which people were kind of on recent-ish. And this is like them kind of going back to what they did before with the character in the series, but instead of 2D, it's like 3D, and it looks really cool. So,
Glad to hear. Not my type of game, but it looked cool. Now let's talk about Pro Skater 3 and 4 come out demo out today.
oh yeah, man, it looks and I know Maddie's not a big fan of this version of the Turtles, but TMNT's in the game. That looks cool.
Let's talk about an arcade type game,
Oh yeah.
Animo.
Oh yeah, this was a really interesting one because like
Was it? I hated that song, bro.
I think like the what re like
That
again I
song,
feel
that song drove me insane.
I didn't mind the song. I just thought the gameplay looked interesting because it looks like it's combining like the capturing different character features aspect of Pokemon, but you're actively controlling the creatures yourself. So that's a very interesting kind of twist on the formula.
Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, it looked like a furry. Speaking of Don't Nod,
Oh yeah.
Aphelion, I think if that's how you pronounce it, a new sci-fi
Yeah.
adventure grounded in real-world science.
It looks interesting, I'm not gonna lie.
The art style's kind of off-putting to me a bit.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of the colorful way.
I like good art styles. I like artistic art styles, but it seemed like he was trying to be a real style game, but not at the same time. It's look
Mhm.
weird.
Something that was really wild though was this game called There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. Like, did you catch that trailer?
No, I did not. What was it about?
Basically, it's like you solve puzzles. It's in first person. You're kind of fixing. You have this gun that you can shoot at object. You can just like you can create platforms. You can fix things, and you're actively fighting at some point in the trailer. It's a really weird looking game. It's a day one Game Pass game though, but still. Um,
Let's
I
talk
will.
about Blood of Dawnwalker from the Witcher 3 devs.
Oh yes, Bandai Namco is publishing this
Yeah, I'm not quite impressed yet, but the reputation of developers, I'm sure it'll be great.
for sure.
Let's
But
talk
something
about
that.
Chronos.
Oh yes.
The
Follow
Blooper
the
Redemption arc continues.
Oh, absolutely. This looks really good.
Get a bit of Dead Space vibes from this game.
Yeah, I was getting those vibes too from the trailer. Really
Final
happy how
Fantasy VII.
finally coming to Xbox people.
The
This
cock
holiday.
cry up.
Oh my God. The moment I saw this, I like messaged Cog I on like I tagged Cog I think on Discord or I messaged him like you want romance tears, right?
And 16
But
too, he also predicted 16.
yeah, he predicted 16 was gonna drop day one, like a shadow drop, and seven was remake integrate. It was going to be like a holiday game because that's going to be when the Switch 2 version comes out.
Cog with the double guess.
You guess enough time, something happens. You guess
High on
every year.
Life too.
Yeah, I mentioned that, man. It looks so good.
Yeah. I don't know. I found this one kind of budget, the Invincible game.
It's an Invincible versus game. It's being developed by former Killer Instinct developers.
Huh. Just found the visuals to remind me of a mobile game.
The visual, they're trying to capture the look of like the show,
Yeah.
and you're getting mixed results, admittedly.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but like I don't know, when I look like in the Mortal Kombat and Tekken games, those games like look far better.
Yeah, but like I will give it a tiny bit of a pass since this is a new studio.
It's true.
So I will, I guess, and this is just the first trailer. They can easily make something look better once, like as they keep working on it. And it looks like the voice acting is from the show
Yeah.
itself. So that's cool that the voices are returning.
Persona 4.
And they revealed this way too early.
When is it coming out?
There's no date.
Oh, it's crazy. I thought it was coming out this year.
No, like the Persona community is kind of like, why does this look mid in terms of like the visuals? And I think the reason why is because Sega, they literally came out with a statement after the reveal saying, "Hey, we just wanted to, the game is happening. We are working on it. We will give you an update when we are ready."
That's crazy, bro.
I think what happened was they were probably they wanted to reveal this either at TGS or even later in the year, but all the leaks got out of hand, and they're like, "Fuck it, we'll just reveal it now and just worry about the backlash later."
Planet of Lana 2.
Yes, this looks really cool.
And it was a really hit indie game if I remember on Game Pass.
Yep, everyone. It was a really good game.
Let's talk about Renaissance. Renaissance. A Plague Tale Legacy expands the universe.
Oh
So
yes,
I'm so excited for this one.
yeah, day one Game Pass. It looks really sick.
I know Maddie loved the second game a lot.
Yep,
2026, that's a 3-year release.
yep. They
And they
they they're on,
released Microsoft Flight Sim last year.
they're on fire.
Xbox should honestly get them.
Don't buy any studios. Just keep doing what you're doing with partnerships, please. Don't buy anybody. Just yeah, it's
I'm just
good.
saying they can handle their weight. They release games like every 2 years or something.
Yeah, let them go. Continue the second party partnership. Let no studio
I'm
purchases.
just saying, if they were to make one, that would be a good one.
Agreed, but I don't want them to buy anyone anymore.
Age of Mythology.
DLC. Yep, looks good.
Speaking of Bethesda Presents, Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Snow. We'll just lump them together. Elder Scrolls Online.
Fallout
Pets.
76, Gone Fishing.
A guy went fishing down the bayou to catch that mutant
But
fish.
it's fission, like, the nuclear fission. Gone Fission.
We're gone fishing, man. We're gone fishing.
Indiana Jones DLC.
As someone who finished the game, what do you make of the DLC reveal?
I thought the story felt a bit incomplete. Like it wrapped up a bit, but I feel like they left a lot of loose ends. So I feel like I hope this DLC can kind of wrap those loose ends in for me.
Awesome.
So I'm excited for it.
September release, enough time to potentially announce a Switch 2 version.
Still no Everwild, Sea of Thieves, season 17.
Oh yes, Smuggler's Tide.
I don't know, man. That's crazy. What are they doing over there?
It's in its development hell. Well, it comes out when it comes out at this point.
Yeah, man. They're on to something else. Got anything else you want to cover?
I guess we will wrap up the Xbox discussion with the. I can't believe it's a $1,000 handheld.
Wait, is
Um,
it?
no, but I will talk about this a bit more in a moment. The VOG Xbox Ally handhelds revealed, and basically the whole idea of this is like they basically make, well, Xbox basically is like, we don't want to make our own handheld. They partnered with the VOG Ally after the success of the VOG Ally, and they're making Xbox branded versions of the console, which have a much improved backend. So it works with the storefront, PC storefronts, etc. And you have two versions. You have the regular Xbox Ally, which is basically a value handheld for the casual player, and the Ally X, which is the ultimate high performance handheld. And the difference between the spec wise is definitely noticeable. The ROG Ally X has an AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme, 24 gigabytes of RAM, and 1 terabyte of storage, while the Xbox Ally has a Ryzen 2 ZA, 16 gigs of memory, 16 gigs of RAM, and 152 gigs of storage.
Hmm.
So the main thing about the handheld is, yeah, it looks nice, but what's the price? You're not giving us any price points. So how can I
$600.
600, you thinking?
Yeah.
I think the price is going to be 600. The ideal price points would be 600 for the Xbox Ally and the Ally X being like 800.
Yeah.
But with tariffs and everything, we don't know the prices. And the fact that they didn't reveal any prices doesn't really inspire confidence that it's going to be like on the level of the typical rock allies. So we will see.
So let's talk about the gaming events. Let's rank them from worst, from best to worst. Where are you at?
I would say place PlayStation is one,
Ooh,
Xbox is two, and the Summer Game Fest is free. And the reason why that it's the lowest, even though Sonic was there, PlayStation had a more like a better variety of different games. Well,
yeah,
Xbox has stuff that I know I'll be able to play without any issues.
yeah,
While Summer Games Fest, it was fine, but like that there was definitely more downtime than I would have liked in places.
yeah. I don't know. Summer Games Fest, I felt like I was kind of like 30 minutes behind, so I was just fast forwarding through stuff I didn't care about. But yeah, I don't know. There wasn't as many announcements I would have liked because there wasn't a lot of AAA, like Western AAA announcements. There wasn't many of them.
No, like
It was like a lot of double A teams and some Japanese teams.
yeah, you're personally looking to see what the AAA Western space is doing.
Yeah. But before we wrap up the show, let's talk about your favorite topic.
What do you mean? You mean your favorite topic?
I say
I-
sarcastically. Grand
uh,
Theft Auto 6 trailer released between our last two shows.
oh
The
yes.
trailer 2. And before we get into, the controversial stuff, the trailer looks great from the Rockstar fan point of view. It looks like they're creating possibly the most ambitious open world here and a really interesting story. What do you think, good sir?
I don't really have much comments to make. I said my piece on it already at this point. Like I'm glad it looks nice. And the only thing I can really comment on is I like the main characters. I want to learn more about them.
Hmm.
Like they seem interesting. They have good chemistry. I think they're gonna be really cool. They're gonna offer a good story.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
You don't really
don't
care about the open world aspect, right?
don't really care about.
That's kind of like their biggest selling point, so that's kind of why maybe you don't connect with it.
That's yeah. That's I don't really I don't
Because it's
connect.
about the simulation of the open world.
Yeah. Like for me, like obviously, the bubbles in the beer bottle, like some of
It's not
the
just bubbles like like the cars, that how many NPCs there are and all that.
like I completely get why you're excited. Some people are excited, but for me, it's
For me,
like
like I read it too, what I love about I'm just, walking around and an NPC talks to me and it just creates this random side quest. Like I didn't start it, it just came up to me. But they're like very dynamic games. It's like, well, me and myself, a lot of people love them.
yeah, for me, I don't really particularly care about Grand Theft Auto all that much. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons. Another reason is the potential of this being $100 something. That that until Rockstar comes out and says no, it's 80. I'm gonna just assume it's
Yeah,
100.
but it's all just speculation at this point.
Yeah, but they could get away with that, and
They
that is kind
could,
of.
but like they also want this game to sell 200 million copies.
I hope you're right. Now it's 80 because if you're going up to $80, I can easily imagine that people justifying Grand Theft Auto at 80. You got like the impressive visuals. You have the open world that's dynamic and
If
stuff.
Outer Worlds 2 is $80, you don't need to justify anything.
I get. Oh, we didn't even talk about
Oh, we
that.
don't talk about that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
game that's a parody of capitalism is $80.
I don't understand why they're doing it with that. You do it. I know you're doing it with Call of Duty, Microsoft. I know you're doing it with Call of Duty. But why are you doing this to Outer Worlds 2 when you know there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'll just play the
I'm
first one.
excited for Outer Worlds too, but like $80, bro, it's gonna be like a 20-hour game maybe.
That is ridiculous.
It is.
Especially I don't understand. What that tells me is that every like somewhat big for title from Xbox Game Studios is going to be 80. There's going to be no in between like we kind of assumed there would be
I
like
thought it would have been like a $60, $50 release possibly.
or maybe even 70 even.
Yeah,
Like Avowed
70
like
would have been fine.
yeah.
I
It
told you if
makes
Avowed is 70, this thing's gonna be 80 a couple months ago.
yeah like honestly if Avowed was delayed again it would have been 80 too.
Exactly.
Like from what this tells me is that Microsoft is looking at they don't they
They
don't
don't care.
they don't care. Like if you're gonna put a blanket price at $80 for anything that's like remotely AAA, then how are you feasibly gonna expect people like you to buy the game on PlayStation? Like there's only a certain number of games that you can justify at $80. Genuinely. Like Grand Theft Auto, you can justify that. Like Mario Kart, the Nintendo quality kind of carries it, and I don't agree with it, but
Well, reminder, a lot of people also didn't dig Outer Worlds 1.
no.
So
Like
like
people
you're not
liked
putting
it, but
yourself
didn't
in a
love
good
it.
position here. People who consider trying are probably gonna go on Game Pass if they even have
Exactly.
access to Game Pass.
And we just commented on Doom earlier. Doom didn't really set the world on fire. People just played it with Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to pay $70 for Doom.
Who's gonna pay? I don't know who on PlayStation is gonna see Outer Worlds and says $80 I'm in.
I don't think a lot of people. I don't know. Well, this might be a situation where like it could be people just, all right, put up or shut up. You complaining, great. Where's the 80?
Like I said, I think $80 should be reserved for these high budget titles that you know will sell well. Elder Scrolls 6.
I think what's likely going to happen is that this is going to be the last year that AAA games are typically like $70. Next year going forward, every publisher is going to just go for 80 as the blanket price for like anything that's remotely AAA.
Yeah,
I think you
I
have
could see that.
publishers
I could see
that
Sony holding off a bit though.
Sony will hold off a little bit because it'll make them look better and they got games. I think
I
Wolverine
don't
like
think Saros can be sold at 80
no, Dead on Arrival if it's sold at 80.
because Returnal didn't even sell well.
No.
But I think if you start with Wolverine,
Wolverine is the logical one you do it with because that's
bro,
more
that's such an easy dub because Outer Worlds 2, people are gonna question you, but Wolverine, yeah, that's a high quality game. I'll pay for that.
and Tom and yeah, you can make the argument, well, Obsidian makes good games. Yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that this should have been 70. Like
Yeah,
if you're gonna if Microsoft's gonna have any game that that's sold for $80, what game do you do it with? Call of Duty. That is the one you freaking do it with. You don't do it with Outer Worlds 2. Because you know
yeah,
what's gonna freaking happen? It's not gonna no one's gonna buy it. They're gonna play it with Game Pass on PC and Xbox.
yeah.
PlayStation people will buy it when it's on sale.
I will probably just play this on my PC. I love Outer Worlds,
Exactly.
but like $80, dude, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'll happily put up for franchises and I know that I will love, but this is a game where people need to try and see if they will like it.
I guess what Microsoft assumes is that oh, you want to try it, you play hey, that to get a Game Pass sub.
But I think this might underperform on PlayStation.
It's not gonna do well on PlayStation.
Because on PC and Xbox, there's the Game Pass, but I don't know. I feel like they're shooting themselves in the foot again.
But yeah, I
What do you
guess to go
think of
back,
the developer direct?
I didn't watch the developer direct. I didn't get a
I
chance.
tried to watch it, but I don't know if you saw there was Ben Schwartz there.
Ben Schwartz was there. Wow,
Yeah, they gave him like a funny role, called him the head of sequels for Outer Worlds 2.
it's funny. I gotta watch that then.
It was not bad, but it got a bit like too technical. Like this is cool details, but I'd rather just play the game and find out for myself.
Yeah, I think that's the type of game you don't really need the full breakdown of. You know what it is.
Yeah. Like that, I was kind of started getting falling asleep because I'm like, this is too technical for this far out.
It reminds me what happened during the Starfield Direct. I was starting to doze off at some point.
But I think that was more that's Bethesda game. There's a lot more details you need to know with theirs.
Yeah.
It's like a Rockstar game. They're gonna do that in-depth breakdown of what it will be like.
Yep.
But like, and you don't really need that for Outer Worlds.
No.
But yeah, that's before we go, let's talk. I have two new additions to our show.
Ooh.
I kind of stole this or slash borrowed it, but I call it Underdog of the Month
Underdog of the month. All right. What's
and then L
this?
of the Month as well.
Okay.
Underdog of the Month, something you feel a game, a developer, or something you've been playing you feel is underdog, underappreciated.
I know where you got this from. I love it. I
From our
love it.
friends that Summoning Sign, I brought their
I
Sorted
love it,
Out,
man. So I love it.
and the other one, if I was.
Our own version of it. Let's go.
But what is your underdog of the month?
Oh man, my underdog of the month would be man, my brain my underdog of the month would be Marvelous, the publisher, for being one of the only third party people to have proper physical copies of their games on Nintendo Switch 2.
Okay.
Because they didn't have to do that. They could have been like Sega and Capcom, everyone else with the key cards, but they chose no. We're gonna spend the more money and we're gonna we have proper physical copies of our games. They didn't have to do that, but they did, and that was really nice of them.
Yeah. And then what is the L of the month for you? You
Hey,
can say
Sega,
the obvious one if you want.
hey Sega, come to the front of the congregation for a moment. I gotta give you a firm little slap in the face
Oh,
on.
actually, we should call it come to a congregation moment.
Okay, that works too. So.
Who's coming to the congregation?
Sega because they are doing the whole upgrade. How they're handling the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations on Switch 2 is
This
definitely
reminds me of the Persona DLC from last year.
yeah.
Because it
Like
was on Game Pass, right?
yep, it was free on Game Pass, but you had to buy it on
Oh,
PlayStation
that's how it was. Yeah.
and PC. But Sonic X Shadow Generations, unlike other Switch 2 titles, there's no upgrade path for this game, so you have to buy the game again.
I went with
And
the Persona 5 remake because I own the PS4 version, but the
there's no
PS5
upgrade
version
path.
was sold separately, full
Yeah, the
price.
only and it actually lines up with what that because the only real difference between the main difference between the Switch 1 and Switch 2 versions of Sonic X Shadow Generations is performance and visuals. The Switch 2 version is substantially better visually and performance-wise. It's a night and day difference for that console, especially for because the Switch versions were locked at 30 frames, and the resolution for Shadow Generations was awful. The Switch 2 version, it's better, and the frame rate is a lot better too. While Sonic Generations, it's the definitive version of the game on Switch 2. But there's no upgrade path for a $10 upgrade path like you see in other titles, and there's no reason for that, especially since they confirmed with Sonic Racing Crossroads when the Switch 2 version is available, there will be an upgrade path for Switch 1 owners. Because the Switch 1 version is $60, while the Switch 2 version will logically be 70.
That's
So
crazy.
it is. So that's my stuff.
All right. For me, my underdog of the month is IOI.
Nice one.
They're really becoming a bigger presence in the industry. If they get their publishing arm bigger, that'd be cool to see like a developer supporting other developers.
Absolutely.
And James Bond looks impressive and pretty high budget. It's good to see more talent out there. And then I'm not sure about MindsEye, but they're publishing it, so I hope it works out for them.
I hope so too.
And then for the person to come to the congregation, I give it to Double Fine.
Why?
I don't know. How long has it been since Psychonauts came out?
since 2021.
So what is it, 4 years?
About 4 years, yeah.
I don't know. I felt disappointed in the show. That was my biggest disappointment of this weekend.
Why? Because it wasn't a Psychonauts 2?
I don't know. I just felt like they. I hope if there's another project, then I'll eat my words. But if it's like the only project they've been working on, it feels like wasted potential or just doing more of the same.
I'm sure they're working on another project. This is the one that they have ready to show. And it's
Yeah.
coming out soon because keep in mind this one's releasing in September, I think. So
Then I'll change mine to Microsoft and Outer Worlds too. That's a congregation moment right there.
they don't, oh, absolutely, they deserve the L, but we already complained about that already.
Yeah.
I
But
like this.
yeah, I thought it was a solid summer's Game Fest because we had multiple different shows. I'm
Yay!
kind of shocked. Where's that Nintendo show?
Sometime this month, man. They got to talk about the third parties coming on Switch too. Everyone's been very quiet about that.
And then Donkey Kong's in July.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is July. I can't wait for that.
All right. Well, that's our show, folks. No funny moments this episode.
No, no, it goes to Yaute or miscommunications.
Well, happy to be back. We're a bit late
Yes.
this time, but we're happy we waited for the Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, she was able to comment on everything.
Yeah. Actually, funny story, there's a Death Stranding 2 event going live right now.
Oh,
The,
wow.
the game premiere.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, catch that if you haven't. And then I'm sure there'll be Ghost of Yahtzee State of Play for next month.
Mhm.
So see you then.
See you then, everyone.